How do you choose a charity for fundraising? Welcome back to Resetting Your Compass, folks. Hope you enjoyed last week. What we're going to talk about today is deciding which charity to get on board for, one, the John O'Groats Land's End, but then finally, obviously, the South Pole. Now, it may sound easy to get a charity on board, but believe me, it's not. Let's delve into this a bit more. How do I find a charity for fundraising? Let's start with the history. I've got quite a bit of history with charities. The last time I raised around £20,000 for Thames Valley Air Ambulance. It was a really great experience. The charity was really helpful. And to be honest with you, after the expedition, I felt so proud of raising 20 grand. So I've got quite a lot of experience in this area. And I thought it was going to be relatively easy to get a charity on board for what I'm doing this time. However, that's not necessarily been the case. And that's the idea of this video, is to show you, strangely enough, things don't always align as you'd expect them to or want them to. And that includes charities as well. So first off, let's decide how you choose the charity you want to actually go with. So how do you choose a charity? Well, I've never really had any sort of direct contact with the charity. I've never used one personally, and I don't know many friends that have either. So that meant I'm really looking for something else, a different angle. And what I actually did was I considered what I was doing for this challenge. Obviously, I'm going to the South Pole. I'm spending a lot of time in a tent. John O'Groats Land's End, I have to camp all the way. That led me to think, hold on a second. Sadly, homeless people don't have a home either. They're having to stay out every night. Some of them have tent, some of them don't. But I thought there's a link here, and this is what you need for the press. To get the press on board, you need a link that they love, and that's what they love. So I thought, well, okay, let's go with a homeless charity. I've got a connection here. This will work. I then Googled all homeless charities, lots and lots of them. But then I read through all their websites to see which are the values that I sort of hold dear to me. Now, there are an array of homeless charities out there, which is really good news. But the one that really sort of struck me really well was the charity provided shelter and a place to live, but they also provided jobs and training, and really got people back into society in that way that they could then get themselves back into a home. It was really good, and I thought, great, I found the charity I want. Rang them up, went to see them, very good. However, one thing I found out that when I was raising money for Thames Valley Air Ambulance, it takes a lot of time to raise money. Now, I don't mind that, I've got lots of time. I can certainly give that in spades, absolutely tons of it. But it also takes a lot of money to raise money, way more than I thought it did. It cost me several thousand to raise the 20,000 for Thames Valley Air Ambulance. And naturally, that was over a shorter period. So it will cost me lots and lots of money to raise money for a charity when I'm doing John O'Groats Land's End and the South Pole. In so doing, I had a chat to the homeless charity and said, is there any way I can possibly get some of my expenses written off against the funds we raise? In so doing, that means I'm not necessarily out of pocket. I'm only out of pocket for time. But we're not talking mega amounts of money here. We just want to be able to offset a few of the expenses I've got. It's a bit like, for example, when a charity organises, say, a dragon boat racing, they will bring in a dragon boat supplier, and naturally they will pay the dragon boat supplier a certain amount of money. Now, I found out that charities work on about 60-40. So for every pound they get in on an event, they expect 60% to go to the person organising the event, and 40% go to the actual charity itself to help them fund what they do. So, and now I wasn't looking for those percentages. That's not what I'm looking for. What I am looking for is something to offset some of my costs. Now, The charity I was looking at was brilliant. They looked into this because they'd never heard of it before, and it's something called a professional sponsor, which is brilliant news. The only minor problem, and a bit of a nail in the coffin, was the charity I was looking at didn't have a lawyer on board that could put a contract of this type together. So sadly, we didn't get anywhere. That said, they were a brilliant charity, and they helped me get to that point, so I understood I need to be a professional sponsor, and I will be doing something for them. I won't name them yet, but I will definitely be doing something for them. So watch this space. So before I carry on explaining the journey I'm on, I just want to explain exactly how somebody who wants to run a normal event would organise it. Well, it's actually quite simple. First off, as I've said, decide on which charity you want. That's a critical bit, because you're going to need something with the charity that you can hopefully sell to the press, because you're going to need some sort of media behind this to help it out. Then all you need to do is simply ring the charity or contact the charity. Now, some of the charities even have forms on their websites you can fill out and tell them what event you want to do. For example, you might be doing a marathon or a cake stall or anything that's a challenge to yourself. And that's as simple as you need to do. Second to that, once you've had contact with the charity and confirm that they're happy for you to fundraise for them, which is critical by the way, you can then go on something, for example, like Just Giving website. There's lots of them out there, and these websites collect the money and send them direct to the charity. They're really easy, very secure, and well worth using. Once you're on the website, you simply fill out information of your event, really nice description exactly why you're doing it, because that's what's going to sell it to your sponsors. You need to tell them the story of why you're doing this and why you're raising money. Part of the process of when you're setting that page up, they'll say which charity you want to link to, pick the charity you picked, and what that basically means is when people sponsor you on that website, the money goes direct to the charity. The really good thing is you're not involved with any of the cash or anything. It's very crystal clear what happens. You can, however, raise funds in different ways rather than just the website, obviously. You see a lot of people carrying buckets around and things like that and collecting money. If you chat to the charity you're getting involved with, they will provide those things for you and then tell you how you can deposit the money into their account as well. So that's the easier way of raising money. Get hold of the charity, fill out the form if need be on their website, contact them, have a chat to them, make sure you can raise money for them, pop onto one of the websites like Just Giving, for example. Just Google it, it's really simple. Link it all up, put your profile out there, and then comes the hard bit, selling the things on your event, getting your event sold. That's a little bit harder, but the actual setting up and deciding which charity, that's as easy as it is. So I hope you all found that helpful. I'm going to crack on with the next part of my own personal journey. So now I was back to square one, but with a little bit more knowledge that I need to be a professional sponsor. I then asked around to my friends and found out a couple of friends used a certain charity. So I thought, well, actually, I've got a link here then, so why don't I try this charity? I rang them up. It took me about a day to get through to a relevant department, which was good news. However, the conversation was quite short and sweet, to be honest with you. They basically said no pretty much from the word go. As soon as I mentioned I was doing the South Pole, didn't even get any further than that, they simply said no. So seriously, something had happened. What transpired was, over the last few years, they've been running events abroad. For example, like climbing Kilimanjaro. Now, when they've done that, they've had to go to a supplier and buy 10 slots from a supplier, because that's the normal amount suppliers take away to make their money. They bought 10 slots, tried to sell those 10 slots to people who would want to do them for that charity. However, they hadn't sold all of them and consequently lost quite a lot of money because they were still contracted in for 10 slots. That's not what I was doing, and this is something of it. They didn't even give me a chance to explain. That's not what I'm looking for here, guys. But sadly, the door was shut pretty quick on that one. So we moved on to the next one. So, on to the next stage. I then asked around my friends again who use charities. And strangely enough, I found out a lot of my friends do use charities. More than I thought, to be honest with you. Very interesting, a bit eye-opening for myself. However, that meant I got 3 more charities I could possibly approach with a link of some description, which is really, really good news. So, first off, I approached one of these 3 charities. This was about 3 months ago now, maybe even 4 months ago. It's a long time back. Got hold of them, managed to get hold of, they passed me to the geographical contact, which appears like quite a lot of charities do this. You basically contact the person local to you. That was fine. A really positive conversation with them about exactly what I wanted to do, how I was going to do it. Really, really good. Had another conversation with them to clarify when I sent the email exactly how it was all going to work, and this is how it's hopefully all going to pan out. Really good. She was going away for a week or so, so no worries. I didn't bother chasing it. About a month later, I hadn't heard anything, so I chased again. Had a few sort of voicemail conversations back, very positive, all looking very good. Yep, chatting to the lawyers, should be fine. Yet again, another 4 or 5 weeks went by, nothing. Thought this is a bit weird, it's not getting in contact here. Chased again, yep, all looking really good. Final stage with the lawyers, should be fine. Great. Nothing again. Another 6 weeks went by. Chase yet again. This time, I got the strangest email back that I've ever had. And basically, the email said, you would have to be committed to raising £1 million for us. And if you don't do it via sponsorship, then you be committed yourself to paying the rest. And I thought, what? What on earth's going on? How come this, I would like to raise some money for a company, and all of a sudden, for a charity, and all of a sudden it's jumped to, you're committed to £1 million if you want to do it. Very, very odd. In the email they said, sadly we don't think you'll do $1 million, so no, we're not interested. And I thought, something's gone very seriously wrong here. As I was chatting to the representative, it was very crystal clear that the decisions have been made higher up. And I really wanted to speak to the people higher up. It's basically not been able to do that for the past 3 months. However, I got an email back yesterday, and it appears I've finally got a Zoom call with, I'm hoping, the person that's making the decisions, so we can get this cleared up as to exactly what we want to do. Because it was very, very positive, but it appears the people slightly higher up are making decisions without actually chatting to the person who wants to do the challenge, which always confuses me why in any company or organisation, the people that make decisions don't actually speak to the people they're making decisions about. Anyway, we don't know where this is going yet. At the moment, it's none too positive, but hopefully it will pan out to be very positive, and as of tomorrow, things can get moving again. We will see. Now, as all that was going on, about 3 weeks ago, give or take, I contacted the other 2 charities at the same time. I thought, I can't carry on with this. Sadly, this charity I'm chatting to, there's something not quite right, but we'll find out tomorrow. So I contacted the other 2 charities. The first one, I sent an email, because that was the only way we could really contact them, and that was to their, I think it's called their relationships manager. Popped that across. 3 days later, came back to me saying, wow, sounds great. Can I put you in touch with a local contact? Where do you live? Now, in my mind, I'm going, well, hold on a second, I'm already speaking to a local contact, and I know that's not a high enough level to make the decisions for what I'm looking for. So I kindly popped it back and said, yep, I live in Herefordshire. However, I'm not sure this is dealt with at a geographical level because of what I'm trying to do and a contract he's putting in place. Would you be free for a 5-minute chat just so I get in touch with the right person? Absolutely nothing. Nope. Left that 4 days, nothing. Contacted him by phone because I have his number now. Rang him up. That was 2 weeks ago. Left my number, everything else. Not even a call back. Personally, I think that's not great for a charity not to even come back to you like that. Very, 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 very weird. Something may have happened, don't get me wrong, but I will chase them up one last time. But very sad. Anyway, I've contacted another one as well about a week ago, and very positive. They put me straight in touch with, guess what, the area representative again. Seems to be the way to go here. I've had a really good chat to her, and instantly she realises it's really her manager that needs to make these decisions. She's kept me informed. She sent me another email this morning saying, don't worry, I haven't forgot about you. I'm just speaking with manager. Hopefully we can get in contact with the manager. But that's where we're up to at the moment, folks. There may be hopefully an update before I send this out, because I think I'm going to send this out on Sunday night, and hopefully I'll have some information about Thursday. But as you can see, it's not as easy to get a charity on board for larger events and become a professional sponsor than it first transpires. However, like a lot of these challenges, you've just got to keep at it. You're going to get no's along the way. You're going to get people that don't understand what you're trying to do. You've just got to keep doing it. Hope that helps. So, we finally got the meeting on Thursday with the charity. It was really good, actually. We had the lawyer involved, we had my representative who's been speaking to me, and we had one of the managers as well. So I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was the manager making the decisions. The really good news is the lawyers went, yeah, there's no problems with this. So there's no problems on that score. However, the manager wasn't 100% sure about it, and we haven't heard back yet. So it could be a 50-50 chance whether they go for it. But I think it's been very positive that we've managed to actually get through to the correct person this time. I'm just sort of, it would have been great 3 months ago to actually have that conversation. It would have been a lot further down the line. But I don't know yet. I'm going to have to leave you on a cliffhanger, I'm afraid, because I don't know if I managed to get this charity on board. Obviously, we're talking to one other one at the same time, so it's all a bit up in the air with all of them. But we have made progress, and fingers crossed the meeting has turned out positive, and I really hope it has. But I'm going to have to wait until I get some information back to actually let you know. Hope that's been great, guys. I hope that's shown you, if you want to become a professional sponsor, the hoops you've got to jump through. And also, if you want general sponsorship, it's actually relatively easy. Just realised, actually, in the photos behind, you've got the Jackson Hole, which is awesome, my most favourite place for skiing. And on the left there, you've got the Everest certificate of climbing Everest. Anyway, catch you all next time. I hope that's been really good and really enjoyable. And catch you up next week.